It is Friday, the 22nd of November, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Today, we're going on a bit of a journey. You'll recall that last week's theme was the charity livestream Desert Bus for Hope, and the songs I associate with it. The song we're talking about today is not a song I associated with Desert Bus, but it will be now. Because during the live stream, they talked about something which triggered my memory of this song, and I've had it stuck in my head since, and I don't want to give away the game. I'll talk about it after we actually listen. But the song is Sylvia's Mother by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. I still have a bit of a cold, if you couldn't tell. Please forgive me. This song is from 1972. It's the first song on their first album, and I knew Dr. Hook primarily through my mother. I think she had like their greatest hits or something, and so I knew their songs like When You're in Love with the Beautiful Woman and Better Love Next Time Baby, and all their songs kind of sounded the same. So then when my dad showed me this song years later, I was like, this does not sound like the Dr. Hook I know. It's actually good. Surprising. Big if true. There's a reason for that, perhaps. We'll get into that. I think we don't need much setup. We should just go ahead and listen to it. So let's go listen to it now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. That's Sylvia's Mother by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. I'm sure you gathered from listening to it that the song is about someone who is in love with someone named Sylvia, and he tries to call her, but he gets her mother on the line instead, and she keeps telling him, stop calling, she's going away with someone else, she's getting married, and he's clearly calling from a payphone because they keep getting interrupted by the operator, asking him to put in more money, which makes this song such an artifact, by the way, considering current phone technology. But the reason this song was brought back to my mind by Desert Bus is because this song was not written by a member of Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show, which is probably why it sounds so different to their other songs that I know. It was actually written by famous children's author Shel Silverstein. If you recognize that name, it's probably because of his book The Giving Tree, a very famous children's book, although a lot of people have reappraised it as not being quite so nice as originally intended. But if you think of Shel Silverstein as being like the author of The Giving Tree, you probably picture some like kindly, maybe older person, and then you look at his author photo and you're like, oh my god, he's a scary looking dude. You wouldn't want to run into him in a blind alley. I say this like he's still alive. He died in 1999. But like, there's so many weird pictures of him. He had an album called Crouching on the Outside, and he's like doing this weird kind of fucking zombie pose on the front. Scary looking dude. I mean, he did other things is the thing. He didn't just write The Giving Tree. I mean, he got his start writing for like Playboy and stuff, but The Giving Tree is probably his most famous thing. But he also wrote like A Boy Named Sue, the Johnny Cash song, you know? He was acclaimed in various different ways. It's just so strange when you think about this song and you think about The Giving Tree. But anyway, the thing about it is that it's based on a somewhat true story. Shel Silverstein was in love with a woman named Sylvia Pandolfi, and she was engaged to another man, and he wanted to get back together with her, so he called her mother, but she told him that the relationship was over. And so that's what this song is based on. Now, he changed the surname for the song because, I mean, for one thing, it's just the courteous thing to do. You don't include the real name in the song unless it's consensual, but also, he said himself, Pandolfi probably doesn't fit into the rhythm of a song very well. So there's that. But anyway, I find this song really, really interesting and evocative because it really just puts you in the moment of what's happening, you know? So let's just go through the lyrics here. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's busy, too busy to come to the phone. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's trying to start a new life of her own. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's happy, so why don't you leave her alone? And the operator says 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just gotta talk to her. I'll only keep her a while. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just want to tell her goodbye. So, I love the way this song is told. It does make the word Sylvia kind of not sound like a word anymore, but just the way it's always Sylvia's mother says, like it's very much telling it in a blow by blow, almost like prose, you know, like it's almost like it's written like a short story, you know. Her mother says she's too busy to come to the phone. She's trying to start a new life of her own. It sounds like she's making excuses. And she says Sylvia's happy, so why don't you leave her alone? And the operator says 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. I love this recurring line because it's so real. Like, it's funny in a way, but it really tells you everything you need to know about this because he's making the call, presumably at a payphone, and the operator says, please insert 40 cents for the next 3 minutes, which not only just grounds it in reality, because that's the thing that people would have to pay attention to in real life if they were actually in this situation, and it probably happened to Shel Silverstein in real life. That's probably why he included it. But also, it tells you how long long he's been on the phone, because it keeps saying this line throughout the song. So the implication is that it keeps prompting him for 40 more cents, 40 more cents, 3 more minutes, 3 more minutes. He just needs to stay on the phone. He just needs to talk to her. Please. Like, it just shows his desperation and his dedication, you know? And the chorus, please, Mrs. Avery, I just got to talk to her. I'll only keep her a while. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just want to tell her goodbye. Like, he's begging her to let him talk to her so he can say goodbye. But the implication is he's probably not wanting to say goodbye. He probably just wants to actually talk to her, right? Then we get the second verse. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's packing. She's going to be leaving today. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's marrying a fella down Galveston way. Sylvia's mother says, please don't say nothing to make her start crying and stay. And the operator says 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. And then we get the chorus again. So, you know, you get this continuation of the same thing you got from the first verse. You know, Sylvia's mother continuing to tell him things. Sylvia's packing. She's leaving today. She's marrying a fella down Galveston way. Now, in real life, Sylvia married a Mexican guy, and Galveston is a place in Texas, which of course is a U.S. state bordering Mexico. So one would assume that this is referencing that she's marrying a guy from Texas, which is to say that he's Mexican, you know, down Galveston way, being like, you know, down towards the bottom of the country, towards Mexico, right? And then Sylvia's mother says, please don't say nothing to make her start crying and stay. Now, this almost sounds like reverse psychology. Like, it sounds like she's telling him to actually convince her to stay, but it could just be what it sounds like, and that she's telling him not to make her cry, right? And then the operator says 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. And then we get the chorus again, like I said. And then verse 3, Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's hurrying. She's catching the 9 o'clock train. Sylvia's mother says, take your umbrella, because Sylvia, it's starting to rain. And Sylvia's mother says, thank you for calling. And sir, won't you call back again? Then the operator says 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. And then we get the chorus again, and then it ends with, tell her goodbye. Please tell her goodbye. So what's interesting here is that she tells him that she's catching the 9 o'clock train, which again implies that she might be kind of surreptitiously hinting to him, go chase her down, because she's telling him her plan. But then she turns to Sylvia and says, take your umbrella, because Sylvia's starting to rain, which implies that Sylvia is within earshot of this phone call, which is not a detail we got before, but it's very interesting. She says, thank you for calling, and sir, won't you call back again? Is an interesting thing to say, maybe again implying that she actually is supportive to him about pursuing her daughter, you know? And then ending with the chorus again. Like, it ends on sort of a cliffhanger. Like, all we get to see is the phone call. We don't get to see anything before or after, and you just sort of glean everything from the phone call. And I think that's a really interesting way to tell the story. It's almost like an epistolary novel, which is a novel told entirely through letters. This is a song told through a phone call. And I think that's a really interesting way to tell like a little bubble of someone's life, you know? I mean, I don't think I have too much else to say about it. Oh, I did want to say, I can't remember if it was my dad showing it to me or if I first heard this in Fargo, but this song is in Fargo season 2, I believe. And I remember hearing it there and being like enthralled with it, and that's when I got really into it. But I can't remember if my dad had showed me before or if I heard it there and then said to my dad, this song is by Dr. Hook, you know, but something like that anyway. Anyway, I think that's pretty much gonna be it for this. I suppose I didn't talk about the music. It sounds like a song from 1972. It sounds really cool, this sweeping strings and shit. I don't have specific comments on the music, I just like how it sounds, but mostly I like the harmonies. Dr. Hook as a band were kind of known for the image of one of the members, Ray Sawyer, who was missing an eye, so he wore an eye patch. He also wore a big cowboy hat, and he's kind of the emblematic image of Dr. Hook in my head, and he does like really nice backing vocals in this song, you know. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this one, I think. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below, tell me what you think, tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
He is kind of the emblematic image of Doctor Who. Doctor Who?